Namaste to all of you. I'm Anvi and this is my channel Soul Sauce. This is the second part of a video in which I talk about the new US president and the vice president and what it could mean for future India and US relationship. In part 1, I have spoken a little bit about the history of our relations and ties, and now we're going to delve into what it could mean right now. Let's talk. There are quite a few points which come to mind when we look at what the future could hold. Obama and Biden have been the president and the vice president of the US for 8 consecutive years, which is 2 terms basically. Every term in US is 4 years, so for 2 terms. In 2005, Biden had been a major advocate in the Indo and US nuclear deal. We've already seen that the president at that time, Obama, and the Indian PM, Modi, enjoyed mutual respect and friendship. Going by the recent successful economic relation between the two countries, where, as I mentioned in my previous video as well, USA surpassed even China to become the topmost trade partner to India, we don't see any reason why there should be any stop to this. Also, it's no secret that USA sees China as its biggest competitor. It wants to stop China from becoming the number 1 superpower and overtake itself. Now, to achieve this, during the Trump rule, the US pulled out of the Paris Agreement, which would mean that the US would have had to support the economically weaker countries in order to combat environmental damage. The country also pulled out of UNESCO and Human Rights Council. With all these points in mind, we can safely assume that the economic relation, the economic ties between the two nations will continue unhindered, and this automatically means that USA is not going to go extremely soft on China. It is still its competitor, and that is going to remain a fact. Also, the tensions in the South China Sea is increasing, which means that USA would continue to need India and India's support to combat China in the South China Sea. Now, this indirectly means that India can continue to rely on USA, at least for the time being, and hopefully in the long run as well, in order to combat China's expansive policies. The next point is that USA has been wanting to withdraw from Afghanistan. To achieve this, it has signed the peace deal in Qatar with the Taliban, and to sign this peace deal, Pakistan has been the broker in between, or the mediator. This means that these countries mentioned are kind of in a mutual support or a mutual friendship kind of a relation, rather than one country relying on the other. US also is of course expected to sign the peace deal again with Iran. Now, this is not a comparative video in any sense, but if we for a minute look at Trump, he was a person with nationalistic interests and not somebody who was much in support of immigration and the other things that come with secularism. However, Joe Biden comes with a completely contrasting outlook. He is someone who is, obviously his party is Democrat, but he is also someone who upholds secular values and secular culture. This can be seen as something which is an advantage to the Indians who are currently in the US, and also ensure that the visa process was much more simpler and more efficient and effective. Now, coming to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris' stance on India's CAA or the removal of Article 370 from Kashmir. Now, as I mentioned in my previous videos, India definitely needs to amplify its communication and make sure that its policies are expressed and understood and perceived perfectly by everybody around, and especially by the critics. Personally, I do want to remain completely optimistic for my country, and as I see now, I do not see much of a difference in the India and US relations. A lack of communication and a lack of perception might bring in a bit of a friction between the two nations. However, there is nothing that cannot be easily resolved. Let me know in the comments below what you think the future holds for all of us. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel so that you do not miss out on any future videos of mine. Thank you very much for being with me. Until next time, take care.